What's up, dog?
What up, dog? How we
Look at me
doing?
fly. Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. I can't complain. I'm solid. Warm, really warm here in Nashville.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Where we so we're moving right now. And
Yeah. So that's
so
happening fast, right?
yeah, it kind of is. We're showing the house on Friday.
Holy cow.
Anyway, so you know how we move, right? Like my dad, like we never, it's not just a one day, like movers come, everything, like, we move things out like 2 months before we move. Anyway, so the room that I always record in is like completely blank. I'm just looking at a bunch of blank walls right now.
Let me see. Turn it to me.
Hang on. It's like,
Like not even like that's like low key creepy if someone didn't know.
I know, right? Like there's nothing. There's nothing there.
Dang, are you gonna be able to have the same setup at the next place?
Yeah, I'll have something.
Dude, are we on episode 37?
We are. Ron Artest, 37, baby. 37. Did you? I mean, we made it to 37, dude. That's something to be said about that. I think that's pretty cool.
That's a lot of episodes, man.
That's pretty cool.
But man, 37.
37, dude. Oh,
You know what that means?
what's it mean?
It means it's time for the Mind of Coach podcast. These are your hosts, Coach Nathan Moran, Coach Asa Duvall. Episode Peerless Price. You weren't ready for that one, Asa. You talked
Peerless
too much
Price.
Alabama football. I had to give you a 1998 Tennessee football player national champion.
He was 37 at Tennessee.
He sure was.
Oh,
But I did say I wouldn't. I got upset with you for Jerome Bettis. So
yeah, you got upset
honestly,
for the football reference. You come with that.
Very hypocritical.
I was going Meta World Peace. This is our Meta World Peace episode.
Was he 37?
He was definitely 37. He was everything at one point, but I'm pretty sure he was 37.
I believe you. Episode 37, Ace. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know the deal. I'm alive and kicking. Can't complain whatsoever. Pretty normal week. Guys coming back. They'll be back May 31st. So things are gearing up for the summer, getting ready for summer workouts, and guys getting in classes. So just getting geared up for that, man. What about you? How's everything going in Cleveland, Tennessee?
So they're coming back from Memorial Day.
Yeah, I guess is Memorial Day on the 31st.
I believe so. I could double check. It might be the 30th.
Yeah, it might. I can't remember if that's one of those that falls on the same date or weekend or what. But I'm looking at my calendar right now.
It's the 31st.
It is the 31st. Maybe they do move in on Memorial Day.
How about that? So many special things.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to my wife. It will be our 2-year anniversary.
Oh, that's right. We got a 2-year anniversary coming up.
Yeah, can't believe she has decided to stay married to me this long. But
yeah, you did good with that one.
So congrats to her.
Yeah, good job by her. Good job.
Congrats to me, I guess. Congrats to me. But anywho, man, everything, dude. The weather's been great here.
Yeah.
I say this every single time there's bad weather. I just won't mention the weather, but
yeah,
when there's great weather, we have to talk about it, right?
We got to talk about it, dude. It's one positive thing in the world. It's supposed to be like 90 here this weekend. I'm getting out.
You know what it's time for? You know what this weather calls for?
Golf.
You guessed it, viewers. Golf. If you didn't know, this was the golfing podcast, and now you do. So
I played yesterday.
Really? How'd you shoot?
I actually went out to Cheekwood. I shot a 44 the first 9, and then on the second 9 I shot a 41. But isn't that like a par 31 course? Like it's a super short course, no par 5s.
Oh, there's no par 5s.
Yeah, there's no par 5s on that course.
Oh, the one in Old Spencer Creek.
Yeah, that we always went to spend.
It's a little bit shorter, but still, hey, kudos to you, man. Nice 85.
I was only gonna play 9, and then I got done, and I was like, I'm going back and playing another 9. So I walked back in. I was like, hey, can you help me out with a discount on the second 9? She was like, yeah, it's just a discount for the difference from 18 to 9 is. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'm paying it.
Dude, I played 9 the other day. And played 9. I don't know if I told you this. I played 9, and then some people let me pass them on on the final 3 holes, and I tripled all 3. Like I was playing great. Like I was legitimately playing bogey golf through 6, and I was like, "That's good for me, everybody."
Yeah.
And I'm playing bogey golf through 6, and they push me through, and so I'm like, "Oh gosh, I got to hurry."
I hate it.
I start, and so I go triple. I walk in the clubhouse. I said, "I'm paying for it. I'm going 9."
That's the Same with me. I was like, God, I'm striking it well. I'm not happy with my score. I was like, I'm doing it again. I'm going back around. I'm doing it again. And that's how golf is, man. That's hilarious.
I told you this because I called you the next hole after I had chipped one within like.
Okay, I was going to ask you if that was the round that you did that.
And then I'm on the phone with you, and I hit one, and then I chip one in from 45 yards. I mean, and it went all downhill from there. But if only I could like. You know what would be my luck is I go play by myself, and then I get a hole in one, and no one believes me.
And there's no witnesses? Yeah, that'd be a tough break. That'd be a tough break.
I had to FaceTime you when that happened. But anyway, man, hey, are you ready?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
All right.
Thank you for coming on. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited about hanging out with you guys tonight for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes, sir. Hey,
I don't feel like we've talked enough basketball recently, so this is good.
Yeah, well, hopefully Ace will be able to give you a lot of good basketball questions. He's filled with questions, so.
I don't know if I can answer them all, but I could try.
Hey, that's all we asked for. But, Coach, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Everybody on our podcast tonight, we have Coach Ryan Bubba Smith. Coach Smith is the current head men's basketball coach for Lee University. Coach Smith played at Furman University, where he was also the captain his junior and senior year. After a successful career, Coach Smith began his coaching career at Hampton-Sydney as an assistant for 3 years and then was promoted to head coach, where he served there for 5 years. Coach Smith went 93-45 during his time at Hampton-Sydney, including 2 ODAC. Is that correct, Coach?
ODAC, yeah.
ODAC. Oh, I should have just said the name instead of spelled it.
Okay.
ODAC championships and 2 NCAA tournament appearances. Coach Smith then took over for Sewanee's basketball program in 2008. He was twice named the SAAA. It's just SAA. It's not SA, is it?
It's the SAA. That's good.
The SAA Coach of the Year while elevating the Sewanee program to new heights. Coach Smith then took over the realm at Lee University, where he helped to usher the program in to the Division II era. In his 5 years, he has quickly built Lee into a contender while making the NCAA tournament in 2019, 2020, and this past year, 2020, 2021. Coach Smith also was named the GSE East Coach of the Year this past year as well. With everybody returning, Coach, what are your thoughts on this upcoming year?
Well, go
ahead and get into it.
Hey, yeah, let's go ahead. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's a long way away, but as you know, I mean, we'll be through the summer. In July, we'll be here. We'll recruit, and then August is here, and the guys show up. And so, I would say that. I mean, I wish I could say that I had the year mapped out and knew exactly what it's going to look like. I think we're still just kind of recovering from this year, and enjoying a little bit of. Not downtime, but we got a little bit of a window here where our guys just left and we're getting ready to hit camps here in June and all that. But, I mean, we're excited. I think our guys they were really motivated, I think, and hungry after the season. I think they felt like we still left something out there and we got a lot to prove, which we do. And so, we did some good things. One NCAA tournament game, hasn't been done yet before at Lee in the Division II era. And so we did some things that we're proud of. At the same time, I think our team feels that we have expectations that are higher and we're hungry to grow and improve and get better. It's kind of a motto, I think, of our season this year. It was like growth. Like, we've got to find ways to grow and improve. And so I think our team really embraced that. And I think heading into the off season, because sometimes I've had teams before where you have a good season and we're like, oh man, this is great. This is awesome. And then you have a team that's returning, like a lot of players returning, and the natural feeling is human nature, right? It's just, oh, we're naturally going to be better next year because we got a better return. It does not work that way. It just doesn't.
Absolutely.
So I have not sensed that from our team. And so, I've sensed a hunger and like, hey, let's go get better and we got more to prove. So that's exciting. I think when you got guys like that in your program that are, they're driving the train a little bit, they're hungry. You got something to work with. And so I think we do here.
When, so you said your guys, y'all are going to be there in July. Is that right? Are you guys coming back in July or?
Well, we know our guys, we got some guys that live here and they have places off campus and, when we have our kids camp and team camp and our guys, all of our team hopefully will be here. And so we have our whole team. Normally we have a couple weeks of camps. And so, normally guys come in for that 2-week period and that's a great 2 week for our team. New guys as well to come in. They just get to hang out. They spend 2 weeks together and, just, live together, hang together, play together, run some pickup at night, work kids camp, and get engaged with the culture and kids and community. So it's a good time. And then they get to go back home and have some time if they're at home to, do what they need to do and get back in the gym and work. And some of them are working jobs and making money. So, we're not like the Division I guys where they get to come in at a certain date and, start taking some classes and, training and stuff like that. The guys that are here will be training. They'll be working with their strength coach on their own, but listen, Division II is a lot like Division III. I mean, your kids got to get in the gym in the summer and you can give them a plan like, hey, this is what we're going to go, this is the strength program, but they got to improve on their own a lot. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people looking over their shoulder, making sure they're doing every little thing they're supposed to do.
That's kind of what I wanted to add, because we got almost a brand new roster coming in, and y'all have pretty much everybody returning. I just kind of wanted to ask you, I guess, what your approach was to, summer workouts don't look the same Division I, Division II, but I just kind of wanted to get, where your head was at, what your approach kind of to the off season in the summer was with the guys. Do you want to get them on the court? Are you anxious? Do you kind of want to let them have their time, just to kind of grow together, get to know each other, get more familiar with each other? What's kind of your approach going into the summer?
Well, and again, there's not, we're not allowed to get on the floor with them or do anything like that in the summertime. So the time that we have, I think when they come in, we're at camps. I mean, it's just, you're just really spending time with them. Like you're just getting to spend more time. You get the new guys that you recruited or brought in. So you're just getting to build relationships and spend time with them. But you're also getting those guys to spend time together because that chemistry, that dynamic is really what makes the difference a lot of times between, good and great teams. And so I want those guys to be together a lot and to be, growing in their relationships, getting to know one another. And again, it's just time to hang out, really. It's time to hang out. There'll be a lot of talk about basketball and things that we got to do and all that, when these guys get here and we get going throughout the course of it. It's a long season. So, that time is just more of like get together, let them hang out, let them enjoy playing some pickup together. And that's really kind of like the jump start to our team as far as like, hey, we're building a new team for next year. It's going to look different, even though we got, like everybody returning on this year's team. You're adding to it so that this will be the only team that looks like this team next year. We've said that every year. So that starts the process over of like building our team, reinforcing our culture, talking about the things and expectations that we have and how we do things. And, but just letting those guys get time together.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm switching subjects a little bit here. What's random question? Where's the nickname Bubba come from?
I have two older sisters, and we're all like 3 years apart. And so the sister right above me, she couldn't say brother. She just said, "Little Bubba's coming, little Bubba's coming." So I was actually called Ryan in school for a little while in elementary school, and then I got tired of like raising my hand when the teachers were like call roll when they would say Brian. I'd raise my hand and I get embarrassed. Kids would laugh. I'm like, just call me Bubba from here on out. That's it. Yeah. And so it stuck, and I was called that since I was a baby. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Nate's going to hate me for this one, but you recently hired a new assistant coach. Talk to us a little bit about that decision and kind of what went into you finally making that decision.
Yeah, well, we're excited. Obviously, Coach Nate here was with us this year. Really excited, obviously, that he got to come and work with us this year, and I think we had a lot of fun and learned a lot, and I think grew in our relationship, and he got to kind of see what we do here at Lee and how it works and what the Gulf South looks like, and what we do. And so really excited, obviously, for Cole to be able to get a head coaching job. I think it's a dream for every coach. If you're going to do this long enough, you want to be a head coach. You don't get into it to be a lifelong assistant. Sometimes you don't have a choice, but for guys to be able to get head coaching opportunities is just awesome. And I think it speaks to, obviously Cole earned that opportunity. It speaks to the body of work we've done here, and Cole was a huge piece of that. So really excited for him. And I do think that like continuity is so important. Also, I think working with people that you enjoy working with, I think that is so important. And for me, it was easy. I think that, Cole and I actually had conversations about, Nate coming on, and that we felt like hopefully we would keep winning and Cole would be in position to be able to get some opportunities. And that we felt like Nate was a guy that could definitely step in when Cole left and be able to step into that role. And so, it may have happened a year, before maybe Cole thought that job would open or a job would open. But yeah, that opportunity was there. And I do like I do with most things. That you give it thought, you pray through it. You start thinking, and obviously everyone's going to have somebody that they want to. Hey, you got to hire this guy. Like, and to me, it's like, no, we got the guy here that we want. And again, Nate's worked his tail off this year. He's earned the opportunity, to be able to be elevated, step into a role, and I'm really, really excited. And I think working. I talked to a lot of coaches, and they really. The staff dynamics are unique, and sometimes they're challenging, and you got to make that work. And so, working with people that you enjoy, that are like-minded, maybe not like same-minded in the sense of like you see the game the same always. I think you got to be around people sometimes that have different strengths than you, but you better enjoy the people that you work with. That's really important to quality of life and your work environment. So, we had a lot of fun this year, and we enjoyed our experiences and our time. And I'm really excited for Nate because he gets to step into a big role, and the recruiting role that he's going to have is going to be huge for our team. It's been huge for our success, and he's going to do great.
Yeah, no doubt he will. I couldn't be happier for him. Talk to us a little.
Thanks, Coach. Hey, one second, Asa. I got to ask him one question before you go. What is the importance of faith in your coaching philosophy?
Oh, good question.
I want to dive into that, and then Asa, I want you to hit
okay. I think that. I think when I interviewed here, there was, I told them, I said, there's a lot of different ways that this can go. You can have different coaches, different back experiences, do it one way, do it the other way, and it can be done in a lot of different ways. One thing I told the committee here when we interviewed, I said, listen, I do think that the way I am as a person and the way that my coaching career has kind of mapped itself out is that there's a level of consistency and sustainability that I think that we can create here at Lee. I do think the school needs. I think the type of school that we are needs to be done a certain way, and this is how I would do it. If this is what you like, I think we can do it here. And I think my faith is something that kind of keeps you grounded and kind of keeps you balanced, and it allows you, especially in a profession that is like, your identity can get caught up quickly in the scoreboard, and winning is important. I'm not saying that, but like that can become your identity as a human being and your value. And I think that, for young men that are 18 to 22, they are kind of going to be making some pretty big decisions in their life in this time. And they are. And so, for me, it was a formative time of my college experience, and some of the decisions that I made when I was in college, I think really helped and shaped and defined, I think, me as a believer, as a Christian coach. And so, I think that you kind of take that into coaching, and now you hopefully be able to pass that on to guys you coach in unique and different ways. And so, I think it helps keep me grounded and have a sense of balance and not just kind of drift like, hey, if we win, we're up here. If we lose, we're down here, and you want players to be able to see like some sense of consistency of like, hey, coach isn't freaking out over here because we lost a game. Like he can be hard, or he can like challenge us, and sometimes. And again, he's competitive and wants to win, but hopefully at the end of the day, that these guys. I mean, at the end of the day, when their career's over, like basketball is going to come to the end. I mean, at some point, you hope that like in their time with you, that you're modeling some sense of consistency, some sense of character, some sense of hopefully like hey, why do you function the way you do? And that's a great opportunity that leads to open doors and conversations. Say, this is who I am. This is why I do what I do. And then they also get to see your family interact with that as well. So that intersects together. And for a lot of guys, especially in basketball, like college basketball, I mean, the percentages of like fatherless homes is just almost staggering of how many kids in college basketball are coming from a single parent home or a home without a father. And so you hope that you can kind of model that, and kids get to see your kids growing up and running around the gym, and you interacting with your family and knowing that, hey, listen, you can do this profession and you can do it well and still have a family and have balance in your life.
Yeah, perfect.
I think, I think having families around practice, after games is something really important to a great, to building a good program and being a part of a good program. Talk to us a little bit about your playing career and how you got to Furman and what that was like.
Well, back in the day, I mean, I say back in the day, like back in the, AAU was different. I mean, you didn't have 1,000 teams to choose from. You had a few. And so, yeah, we had a pretty good team that we played on, Tennessee Travelers back in the day. And
you played on the Travelers?
I was the Travelers guy.
Wow. Wow.
Played for Coach Spence. And so,
You played Charlie. So I played for the Travelers for a little bit. I knew Charlie.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. We had a good team, and a couple good runs there. And so, you just played. You didn't play all. You played some big tournaments, and then you played like a true national tournament. And so, getting recruited through that process was a lot of fun. And plus, again, the guys I was playing with are getting recruited at a really high level. So you always have a lot of coaches watching and paying attention. I didn't know a lot about. I didn't even know about Furman. I'd never heard of really. A lot of other older people that once you started telling them about Furman, great school, great academics, but I'd never heard of the place. And so, we looked it up. I think we went and visited there during their fall break. So you went with no students were there. I think we went and played golf on the golf course on campus. We went fishing at the lake on campus, two things I enjoyed doing. I'm I'm coming to Furman. This place is awesome, But again, I was naive too on the recruiting process, and you started getting recruited and we're going to offer you early. And so I was a little bit naive of hey, if I don't commit now, then it's just going to go away. So, so I committed early. I signed early. Played Middle Tennessee, played there at Hendersonville, and then went to Furman, and really loved my time there. It was a unbelievable 4 years. We went through a coaching change halfway through, and
how was that?
It was. I think when you're going through it, you're just like, man, what's next? You hope that number one, you hope you have a scholarship. You hope that that the next coach that coming in is going to treat you right or treat you well and whatever. But I enjoyed both my coaches. I played for Joe Kentucky for 2 years and Larry Davis for 2 years, and Larry was there for a little while. But the staff was fun. We had a good staff. I was at a marriage retreat last week, and Bruce Evans was on staff. Ed Conroy was on staff. Ryan Odom was on staff that last 2 years. And Ryan was really my connection to get me into Hampton-Sydney and how I got the job there. But I enjoyed that, and I think I was thrown into really some leadership my junior year, and Coach Davis came in, and I think the type of player I was really resonated with him. He was a tough, hard-nosed guy who really defended, and so that's kind of who I was as well. And so I think he really enjoyed how I played the game, and so it was. Yeah, I wish we'd have won more games. But again, when you go through coaching change, we actually had some guys that left that were really talented and really good. And so our freshman class was the most successful at the time freshman class in Furman history as far as kind of our production. And then we had some guys leave after that second year. We stuck together. I think we would have won a little bit more. But my time at Furman really was a really balanced experience. Really involved with campus ministry, and thought I was going to get into campus ministry or some type of ministry as a religion major, and but it was I love my time there. I have a lot of great memories.
Who was on
4-year starter though, right? 4 years, 4-year starter. Yeah. He's gonna be humble about it, but he could hoop a little bit, Asa.
I'm sure. I played a little baseball too. My last year I pitched.
Really?
Dude, I'm telling you, Asa. I got to brag on him for a second. He knows he's the multi-sport athlete of them all. I'm in there trying to get golf lessons from him. Asa and I are turning into this golf podcast, almost to a sort. And so I'll go in there and just ask him stuff. I'm like, hey, so I'm slicing everything, coach. What do I need to do? And we're both just standing up. People are walking by. They're like, what are these guys doing?
I love it.
Asa, you're into golf now. You're getting into it, right?
Oh, I got the itch. I got the itch bad.
It's a bad itch to have when you're in college coaching. That's for sure. It's bad.
Big golf podcast. Who was on that Travelers team with you?
So my Ron Mercer, myself.
So you were with Ron?
Yeah, he and I were the same age. So he would our 16s year. He played both 16s and 17s. He played up with Drew Maddox on the 17s, and then so our next year was Brandon Warden went to Tennessee, Charles Hathaway went to Tennessee, C.J. Black went to Tennessee. You had I think. Oliver Simmons, who initially signed with Kentucky, maybe ended up at Florida State. David Whaley played at Gatlinburg, Pittman. I think all 8 or 9 of us signed Division I, I think, or something. So it was a good team, and we lost to Arkansas in the national championship game that year. Wow. So it was, we had a good run, a good group of guys, and
the Travelers had some squads, back around that time. Did you? what was I about to say? Golly, I'm totally losing track of my thought. What was Charlie like back then?
Probably just like he was when you played for him.
Well, so I didn't actually. He just ran the organization. I didn't actually play, but I heard some crazy Charlie stories.
Yeah, he was. It's a funny story. We actually, so in the national tournament, Oliver and I actually got benched the semifinal game because we were acting like a fool in the hotel. We were being loud running up the hallway. Well, we come out, and as soon as we come out, like Charlie's standing right there in the hallway. I'm like, oh Lord, we're in trouble. And so he just I don't know, he wanted to make a point, and so we were both two starters, and he benched us for the semifinal game. Oh. And back then you didn't have cell phones, and this was in Winston-Salem, and so I'm thinking, wait till my dad gets here and finds out that we're not playing this game. I told Oliver, my dad gets into this place, like I'm not sure what we're going to do, you know. And fortunately, we won the game, and then played in the next one. But yeah, he was intense. You know, he was intense. He was fiery. The first time I met Bob Givens at the first recruiting event when I was at Hampton Sydney, when I sat next to Bob Givens, I introduced myself, and he knew exactly. You know, he's like, Tennessee Travelers. Yeah, I said, yeah. You know, how'd you know? He goes, I just remember Charlie cussing you up and down. Yeah, I just remember your name attached with some other adjectives. So, you know, that was my first time to meeting Bob, and so I thought that was pretty funny.
That's awesome. So I guess at what point did you know you wanted to coach? I know you said you were, I guess, religion major and you were thinking about getting into ministry. At what point, and kind of in a way, you still are in ministry as a coach and a leader of young men. At what point did you know basketball coaching was the route for you?
Well, so how that happened, I guess I was done playing. I finished my fourth year. I had, I think, 2 classes left to graduate. I played baseball my senior year, so I was done with basketball. I played baseball my senior year. And then baseball was going to come, pay for my school for my 5th year. I was going to come back and pitch again my 5th year that summer. And I would stay and work camps all summer. And that summer, I think Coach Davis basically, he said, you have our overnight camp. It's yours. You take it. And I'm like, okay, I'm 22 years old. Here's the overnight camp. And we're going to run a day camp at the same time. So I took the overnight camp. At 22, just finished playing, and again, I ran the whole thing the whole week, staffed it, hired, and all that. And so, my personality type that kind of fit with. And he came, he said, hey, I think you need to do this. I think you need to. And I said, well, listen, I'm gonna come back and play baseball. I'll help as much as I can on the side, but I'm just gonna pitch and do this baseball thing. So I get back to Furman in the fall, and I'm like, I really don't like baseball. I don't want to play. I think because I'm 6'4", I'm a lefty. Like I should play, but I don't want to play. Yeah. And so I get back, and I have this sense that, and at the time they had a position that was open, and they offered it to a high school coach. He came in and took the job. It was kind of like their, director of basketball operations or something like that. And so I was like, well, I missed that opportunity. I'll help out when I can. So I had this thought, like, I just don't know. I don't want to play baseball. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I can't call my dad and say I don't want to play baseball because they're going to pay for my school. I don't know how my school is going to get paid for it. Mm-hmm. And so I was just, I was just praying about it. I was like, I know this is what I need to do. And then in the same week of like me coming to that decision, the AD pulls me in and says, hey, listen, I know you may not want to play. We're going to pay for your school regardless. Whether you play or not, we're going to pay for your school. Wow. I was like, no way. And at the same week, the coach who came and took the position at Furman left and went back to high school. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Said, hey, the job's yours. And the cool thing about that at the time, the director of basketball operations job was a guy that, again, at the time you couldn't get on the floor. Well, since I was still a student taking classes, I was like a student assistant / DBO. So I got to do everything that a director of basketball operations couldn't do. Mm. And so I got to coach full time that year and, finished up my degree. And it was just kind of my launch into coaching. And again, at the time, I still didn't think that like, hey, this is going to be this one I'm going to do forever, my calling. I just think that it's something that made sense to me. It's something I understood. Like the game to me, for some reason, it's like it was easy to see and communicate. And like, this is what works, or this is what I think successful teams look like, or this is how we need to be successful. And so it's just something I enjoyed doing. I enjoyed it. It seemed to make sense how I saw the game. And then I had to make a decision on what to do next. And I got married that summer, and It's like I was going to go back to Furman and really work for free that year because he didn't have a paid job and work for free and do skill lessons on the side. And my wife was going to work. And at the last minute, I get this opportunity at Hampton-Sydney through Ryan Odom and Griff Aldridge. And so went to Hampton-Sydney and I kind of balanced it. Like, I got to provide for my family at the same time. Like, and Coach Davis told me, he goes, if you leave, you will never get back into Division I basketball. And I was like, well, I'm not saying that my dream is to be a Division I head coach. I don't know that. Yeah. My dream is to have a family, provide for my family, and be a good steward. But I'm not sure what that looks like. And so making that move to Division III was the best decision I ever made. It was unbelievable because I got to learn so much.
Mm-hmm. That, you know what, I see, we're on this wavelength, Asa. Me and Coach Smith are on this wavelength because he knew that I was about to ask these next 3 keys. So, Coach, every single week I do 3 keys, and I ask them from someone, as I say, smarter than I. You are that person. Obviously, every single day you're that person, but today even more. So, what are your 3 keys to being the best coaching husband and father possible?
Dude, that's like a lot. You can't, man. That's so much. Like,
boom. Like,
all right, just break it down. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be able to remember all 3, and so all right, give me one.
Or what are the 3 keys to being the best? Obviously, you're a coach, and so like people can try to like sometimes you hear about struggling to mix being a good family man, being a good father, being there for your wife, your kids, etc., while being a good coach. Like, some people will say you can be one of the 2.
All right, let me stop there. So I do think that this, because I think that there's this probably this thought that you can't, like, okay, if you're going to be a great coach and pursue this, like, I'm going to be a Division I head coach, I'm going to be a head college coach, like, something has to give. Like, your family's probably have to sacrifice that. Like, there are some sacrifices probably that your family makes, but at the same time, I think that if you pursue it that way, where I will do this at the expense of my family, you're going to lose. Like, you're never going to be a good head coach ever. Yeah. Or you will, but at the end of the day, like, your family will fall apart probably. Like, the relationships you have with your family, your wife, your kids, they won't be where they need to be. So I do think that, like, it starts with saying that, am I taking care of my home team first? Is my wife, does she feel important, valued? Is she being heard? Is she being respected? Am I thinking for her? And I still think that you can work really hard in this profession and you can have still a good balance of that, where, like, your wife, and there's ways to do it, where, like, your wife think, hey, I'm thinking about you. Okay. I'm actually thinking about the day that you're having with the kids, when our kids were, like, little at home and they're all running around in diapers and, like, it's just hard. Like, they can still feel like they're a part of what you're doing, but you got to be intentional about that. And you got to, there's a way to do that. And so, but I think if you think that, like, my family will have to sacrifice for me to be a successful head coach, I think that you're going to be disappointed. And I think that your quality of life and your family life is just not going to be great, I don't think. And so, so I do think that you start there. You got to make sure you take care of your family. And I told Cole this when I got here. I told every assistant I work for that, yes, we're gonna have to work really hard. We're gonna do certain things. You're gonna make sacrifices. We're gonna be on the road. We're gonna have to recruit. We're gonna have to do these things. I always say this: when we're in the moment of, like, a season, or, like, you feel like I have to go see this kid, and things aren't great at home, or like you just know that, like, your wife needs you there tonight. You better let me know that. Like, you better let me know that, because you're going to go home and we can go see that kid another time. And so I tried to, like, tell our assistant coaches, the guys that work with me, on the front end, of, like, yeah, we're going to have to work really hard. You're going to have to make sacrifices. But at the same time, you need to be honest with me that, like, if things are not great, or, like, if you need to, like, your wife needs you at home tonight for some reason, then hey, we need to talk about that and go home and we'll, like, that, we'll get that kid. If we need to get that kid, we'll get the kid. And if he understands that, like, your family needed to come first in that moment, hopefully that's something that we want kids to know about our program anyways, that, hey, our family comes first. And so you got to take care of your family. And I'm not saying that I've done that perfectly necessarily. I think that there's a lot of things that, I probably could wish you go back and do things and change it differently. But there's nothing worse probably than, like, winning a big game and probably going home and things aren't good there. You're like, this sucks. Like I want to win a big game and go home and everyone to be on the same team and celebrate, and be like, man, we were in this together and we did it together. This is awesome.
That is my favorite thing. Go home and everyone is on the same team, like celebrating. That's exactly what you want.
But if I was brutally honest, there have been plenty of times in my coaching experience where like you won a big game, you've gone home, and like I just haven't probably been a good father, good husband that week. I just haven't been like I should. And so, and fortunately I have an unbelievable wife who's very honest with me and can remind me and tell me when I'm not doing a great job. So, but the other thing I do think, Nate, on the basketball, recruiting is the key, right? I mean, you got to be able to recruit talented kids, and you got to recruit the right kids. And a good buddy of mine here, Heath Essingler, he's one of my best friends. He's a phenomenal communicator and leader. Does a lot of parent education when it comes to the sport journey. He talks a lot about like relationships and responsibilities. He said in recruiting, if you identify people that are good in those areas, they're going to be really successful people. If you got a recruit that's terrible, he has terrible relationships with his team, coaches, and people around him, and he's not very good as far as handling the responsibilities, he's probably not going to be a very good teammate. He's probably not going to be able to handle those things well here. And so those are one of the things I think in like recruiting and evaluating kids is like, hey, how do they handle these things? And that's part of what we do when we're looking and evaluating kids is like, how do they handle those two areas of their life? Mm-hmm. Those are two huge areas, right? Yeah, they really affect like every dynamic in their relationships they have with their teammates. They affect their ability to go to class, to handle their responsibilities, get things turned in on time, communicate with professors. They just know how to handle their business, which allows them to like enjoy something they love doing, which is basketball. Absolutely. If you can't enjoy basketball and do those things, if you got all these other pressures and things coming in on your life that you can't manage and function. Now, not every kid has that figured out. We know that you're trying to help them along, but I would say this, I think that the evaluation piece of kids is like, you're trying to evaluate that. Is this a character thing or maturity thing? And you hope that you don't miss on many when it comes to the character piece, but the maturity piece, you're like, okay, this kid just needs to grow up and mature a little bit, but we've gotten to know him enough to where like there's a really good foundation there, and I think he can handle these other areas.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a great point. Coach, were you
killed it? Killed it.
We probably only got like a third of the answer on that one, maybe. I don't know.
No, you got two. It was take care of your own team first, which love. I don't know if that'll be the title, but you have plenty of information that could be the title right now.
You want to write a book? Let's do a book on that. You want to? We can start writing.
I mean, Coach, I can throw ideas out.
You can write the first chapter, and I can write the next 12. How about that? Because you're you're a newlywed still. So
yeah, you got 12. I don't even know if I have a chapter. It's very, very small. But gosh, maybe Brooke would have to write it about how tough it is to be married to me. So
yeah, Brooke may need to write that one, and then he can take it from there.
She needs a vacation just from me. She needs to go out somewhere else. Just be like, I need to get away from you for a little bit, probably. But no, Coach, that was an awesome answer. You definitely hit on a few. I appreciate it.
Were you there when you got to Lee? Was it you? Now you made the transition to Division II, or is that right?
I think my first year here was maybe the first full year. Maybe I think the year before that they played a Division II Gulf South Conference schedule, but they were still. I think the year before I got here, or maybe the year I got here, was the first full year of Division II. Yeah.
But it was your first year that they were eligible to compete in the NCAA tournament, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
That's how it worked.
Okay. So there weren't any you didn't have any postseason restrictions or anything.
No.
Is it tough to build a program that's just transitioned to a new level? What's building a program at a school like that like?
Well, I think when I went to Sewanee, it was. I think they had 10 straight losing seasons, and so the thing that was interesting about that move from Hampton-Sydney to Sewanee is that, Hampton-Sydney had a top 25 program. And so it was, taking over for a legend, in Division III, and Tony Shaver was, that's a challenging thing. I think, it's a challenge. It's a challenging thing to do, and the landscape of Division III and that school at the time was changing. So there were a lot of things in the league was changing. So it was great to be able to come back to Tennessee. And the thing is, Division III basketball, because in Tennessee, you got Rhodes, Sewanee, Maryville. Mm-hmm. It's not a huge Division III blueprint or like in Tennessee. But in Virginia and where I was at Hampton-Sydney, it was like D1, D3. It was huge. And I was shocked, like when I went in there, how good they were. I mean, I was absolutely blown away. Like the first day I walked into Hampton-Sydney's gym as a, in 5 years, I mean, I've done playing 1 year coaching at Furman. I walked in, I'm like, half of these kids could play at Furman. They're that good. I was blown away how good the basketball was. And then I was blown away how good the coaching was. I mean, it was, the coaches in the league at that time, guys that are, Mike Rhodes, who's at VCU, going head to head, he's at Randolph-Macon, that's our rival school. And Jimmy Allen down at Averett, and who's, I think it's the Army now. You got guys that are really successful in the Division I ranks now that were like coaching in that league. So the coaching was phenomenal. So going to Swanee, I was like, all right, this is a startup. It's like you got to start from ground zero, and there's like no short in Division III. There's no shortcuts. You can't get transfers or do that. It's just you got to get freshmen, develop them, and then kind of figure it out and get those guys to grow. And so, but that was fun because I felt like you got to do something, and that everything that you did was going to be like, man, we're doing something. And people would really appreciate that. And so that was that was really fun in that process. Coming here, it was still unique because they were unbelievably successul at NAIA and have had probably the best of resources, right, in the league that they're in. With NAIA, probably more scholarships. Everything they had at the NAIA level was just so much, a lot better than other schools. And now you go D2, and it's like now you're probably down in the middle of the pack somewhere as far as like facilities and things like that. And so a lot of the sports here at Lee transitioned really well. And a lot of the female sports did too. And so
my sister ran track and field there and cross country, by the way.
Really? Yep. And they're phenomenal. They're just winning championships left and right. So here was I guess this was my thought process. And again, I was probably insecure, not insecure, but just lacked confidence of, okay, I'm going to make this jump. And can you do this? Because I would say this, after every season's over, every coach says this, if every season's over, when the season's over, and like, okay, you're presented with an opportunity to take over a program. Like when the season's over, you're like, I don't know if I have the energy to do this again. Just take a program and and then you kind of get into it and you just get going, and then you blink and it's 5 years later. You're like, what happened? But coming here, I will say this. I think that Division III, you get to hone every skill in Division III, and you get to do it with really nothing to really offer the kids at the end of the day. When it came down to financial aid and their ability to show up and go to school there, you could work as hard as you wanted to recruiting wise, and they could get to the end and say, "Coach, I'm sorry, I can't afford it. I can't come." Yeah. I was excited about being in a position where can we work like that and get to the end and say, "Hey, we have a scholarship to offer you." And know that that's not going to be the determining piece that the kid would say, nope, I have to go to Birmingham Southern. I have to go to Center. Like Nate was going to go to Birmingham Southern, I had to throw that in there, Nate. So I wanted to be able to say, hey, listen, I think these are some things that we can bring here. I think we can build on. We can do it a certain way. We have scholarships to work with, and we were resourced, and we got administration and people here that care. And so that's really, really important that you're stepping into a place that people want to win and they want to do it at a high level. But it was a little bit more of a starting. It was a little bit more of a, like, we're starting over and we got to start from scratch, And so that was, some of the success they had and some of that culture, I think had kind of eroded a little bit. And so we kind of had to start it over. And so in some ways it had some similarities to Swanee. I thought we could move the needle a little bit faster just because we had scholarships to work with. And so, I was excited. I was, probably nervous, anxious of like, hey, can we do this? Can I do this here? You're making the jump to a level. And then you kind of get into the level and you're like, okay, it's never as big as you think it is sometimes. I always say that. It's never, you get there and so, and then you just start plugging away and do what you do and stay the course. That's the biggest thing. It's like this is how we're going to do it. We'll have to make some adjustments, but this is how we're going to do it. Let's go. And we're not going to get, when things get tough or it doesn't go our way, we're not going to, freak out and panic and do something different and go start signing kids we don't want to sign and kids we, take chances on a bunch of guys. So, yeah. And so I knew that, and I told the committee here, I said, it may take a little bit longer. It may take another year or two than But I do think we'll have more sustainability. I think we can sustain this longer, and we won't have these big waves. But I hope that doesn't change now with the transfer rule. So we'll see.
Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation.
I know, isn't it?
All right, we'll give it. I was going to go into some rapid fire, but just give us your thoughts on the transfer portal right now and just kind of all that madness.
I don't know. I mean, I think some of it is gonna. I don't know. I mean, decisions are made, and then like you don't really know until we get maybe another year out or so. Like, okay, is this good? Is it bad? Obviously, I'm not crazy about it because I think it will trickle down to us, and pretty quickly. And you see it already with some of the better D2 talent making the jump and moving on. I don't necessarily fault those kids, but I do think that we're going to have to adjust. I think we're going to have to adjust, and I still think that I still think that we're doubling down on what we do and trying to identify, young high school kids that we think that like this is their ceiling and where they'll be in a couple of years. So hopefully they need that time to develop. So, hopefully we have the guys that we can keep in our program, but these guys need maybe a redshirt year, maybe a couple of years to develop. And so they're hitting a good sweet spot that third year that they're here. A redshirt, maybe 2 years in, they're starting to hit it. And now you've held on to a kid for 3 years. And maybe he's not ready his first year or two to make that jump. And so I hope that maybe we can hold on to him a little bit longer because we're kind of recruiting kids like that. And we have a decent foundation of players in our program. And so, we've always said in our league in the Gulf South that, you don't want to be freshman of the year. We want to be the runner-up. Every freshman of the year has been gone. He's left. He's gotten good. Yeah. So, but and again, the other thing too is you just hope that if you're building something here that your players feel really connected to, it's not going to win them every time. But you hope that it wins more than it doesn't. Where they say, I can stay and get my degree. If I got another year left, I got options. I can go pro. I can take a jump and maybe to a higher level and get to mid-major, maybe something higher than that, and play for a year. And so, I hope that's how it plays out for us. But you just don't know. You got to be willing to adapt and adjust.
Certainly, Coach. Well, we do like to have a little bit of fun towards the end of the show. You mind doing some rapid fire questions with us?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not. Well, they turn into not so rapid fire questions. So
that's okay.
All right. Last technical.
Ooh, it's been years, probably a few years, maybe. I don't know, 3 or 4 years, maybe.
You ever
maybe it's been a while.
Okay, so not recently. Ever been kicked out of a game as a coach or player?
No. I've been not talking. No. Playing days a long time ago, so never as a coach.
Yeah. So. You ever dunked a basketball on a 10-foot rim?
Oh, a lot for sure. A lot of ways. See, our players know because I'm old now. They're like, "No, coach." I'm like, "No, listen. I had a lot of stuff in my toolbox. You
had some bounce.
I was pretty bouncy.
Yeah,
I was pretty bouncy.
Do you have any film of you playing?
Listen. My Nate was at our house this weekend for my son's graduation. My sister was there talking about my game. So, this is how I learned to dunk. So I was the first kid in our neighborhood. I think it was in elementary school that got the first adjustable breakaway goal. And so my dad, like the concrete set, he came and got me out. He goes, concrete set, let's go. And so we went, and it went down to 8 feet, So you dunked on 8 feet, and you dunked on 8.5 to 9.5. And we spent every afternoon and on that thing, and we spent every night. Like literally, cause I'm a Jordan guy. I grew up in that generation, and so we were mimicking like every dunk contest, every dunk. You just name it. And we were filming them too. Like we had the big camcorder, like it was this big, that was on the shoulder. We put ladders on the goal and get up from the top and film from different angles.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. You didn't tell me that part.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, we got mini trampolines that we get out and just like we show those in the camera. We like pan up or we're getting higher. Alley-oop. Started with the small ball. We always had the small ball when you're young, and you can palm it. But that's how you learn to be a kid, be creative, and have fun, But we did that every single day, and like it was fights would break out. You just that's how you grew up dunking and learning how to dunk.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, you're up 3 at the end of a game. Do you foul or let it play out?
I have not fouled traditionally, but I haven't lost a game yet where we've been up 3 and lost. So maybe I haven't coached long enough to do that. But I've gone. The conversation I think we've had on that a lot of times is like, how good of a rebounding team are we?
Yeah.
And so if we're not either really big or we're not super physical or we don't have 2 guys down low that are they're going to get the ball, sometimes we got. So sometimes it's like, hey, do we have an advantage on the glass? Because if they got to miss one and get it and win a game, then I want to make sure we have an advantage. And so, but we work. You better work on it. So those scenarios and some teams in our league are really, really good at Xing and getting second chance opportunities. And we actually have that's part of some of the teams we play. That's part of our scout. Like boxing out on free throws because they're so good at Xing and how do we do that and who are you gonna leave? Who you gonna let go one-on-one and who you gonna let bench and who you gonna West Florida's always been really good at that, teams in our league. I have not fouled in the past.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm not saying that I won't, but
okay, leave your best player in with 2 fouls in the first half.
Probably take him out initially. But may put them back in, depending on the game and the weight of the game. If it's a conference tournament game, if it's something that and some of it too is just how's he picked up his fouls. I think as a coach, you can kind of feel the game. You can kind of feel him. Is he emotional? Does he need to come out? Is he frustrated? And if he's frustrated, like you better get him out quick because he can pick up a third. But the challenge thing with that is that your best player, the ball's going to be in his hands a lot too. So more chances of him possibly picking up an offensive foul or getting a push off and something silly. But if he's a really smart player, I think you get more flexibility. If he knows that I can get out there and he's a good defender and he knows how to control his body and not get off balance, and you got some flexibility there. But and if the game starts going sideways, then he's back in there. Got to go.
Yeah, you can't lose in the first half. Okay, go for the tie or go for the win.
Normally what most people say, well, you're at home, like go for the tie. You got energy and you got momentum. You get a team in overtime at home, but sometimes it depends on the game, like the flow, the feel of the game. I think you get to the end of the game, like if you feel like a team is. Sometimes the momentum's on their side, man. Just go ahead and try to get the win and got to get out of there because you're probably not going to win in overtime if the game is shifting, But also I think that depends on, your best players and how what's the best, if your best player is a guy that's better going downhill, or he's going to be better scoring at the rim, then we're, a tie may be the best thing because that might get us the best shot. So I think some of that, like, all right, can we get the best shot? What does that look like? So, I don't want a kid jacking up a bad 3, tough off balance, just to win the game for the sake of winning it. We want to kind of get the best shot we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Casual or professional on the sidelines?
Listen, this year I am casual, and I don't know if we'll go back because I'm a sweater, and so like I've spent way too much money on dress shirts and dry cleaning, so. I'm probably like go to polos and like a 3/4 zip and invest in that. I just ruined a lot of shirts and I get really hot and I sweat. So this year it's been nice. And it's I've enjoyed it. And our league can go. Our league can go. We got guys that dress up, and I've always been I was like a suit guy. Then I was like a take a jacket off a tip guy. Then I was like, no jacket, no, or like no tie and a jacket, take the jacket off, then no jacket. And, I think I've just moved away every year from like the dress ups. So I want to be comfortable.
I'm with you.
And sometimes our games too, sometimes we got to, we might be traveling down and playing. So I don't want to, I want to be comfortable.
Yeah, certainly makes traveling easier and packing easier.
Hey, you guys are sweating like you guys sweat equally. So I don't know if you've seen.
I'm a sweater too.
But he has a towel that he has for the podcast, and so he's over there like John Thompson, just wiping off his sweat. So something in common between you two.
Yeah, I definitely Bruce Pearl a lot when I was a student, and just I sweat through a lot of shirts.
Yeah. So we need to get you a maroon suit, is what you're saying?
Something dark, right?
No, a maroon one. A maroon one, just like Bruce Pearl's orange one.
Yeah, probably not.
Or Cardinal, excuse me.
All right. Early morning practice or evening or night practice?
I like that. I mean, we've been spoiled here when we practice it between 1:30 and 2:30 every day, and that's awesome. Yeah. Like I don't mind. I wouldn't mind morning practice. To every once in a while, you got to send a message and get guys out of their routines. But I don't think that's always necessarily productive. And then, but when I Division III, I mean, you were 5, 7, and 9. That was the 3 times you had. Classes went to 4, 4:30, 5, 7, and 9. So, I don't, I could imagine ever going back to that, like late night practices at 9 and just, so sometimes the 7 were nice when our kids were young because that was bedtime. I was like, I'm gonna get out of bedtime. This is nice, and I come home at 9 and it's kind of this is quiet. It's awesome, But now it doesn't matter. Like our kids are up at, it's 11:30, 12 o'clock. I'm like, y'all go to your rooms. Like, and I'm a night person, so I don't wind down easy. But our kids are up late, so like it wouldn't matter now.
Yeah, that's funny. If you could not coach basketball or be in the world of sports, what would you do?
World of sports?
Yeah.
Ooh. Maybe a professional golfer. I'll play on PGA Tour. I don't know. Yeah, maybe a golfer.
Yeah.
Maybe fish on the Bassmasters Tour. Maybe be a professional hunter. I love it. If I could be a professional hunter, like make a living doing it, and like travel the world and like do something like that, like that would be
signed up.
Yeah, just something outside.
Okay, so what's your handicap in golf?
I don't know, 6 or 7, maybe a little bit low. I mean, somewhere around there, 5 or 6, something like that.
What did you shoot the last time you played?
80.
80.
I don't play. I mean, I really don't. I played in high school, but I don't. I mean, I play tournaments now, but mostly like, events and stuff. And so, but my dad and I used to play. That was our thing. And then my mom's before my dad passed away. My dad retired, and he got my mom into golf. She plays like 5 or 6 days a week now.
Couple more real quick. Should every team make the conference tournament?
Yeah, every team make the conference tournament. I've always said yes. Yeah. I always said yes. I think that I want to see every team have a chance. And basketball is a tournament sport. I think there's nothing like the conference tournament. And even because there's a lot of things that can, like in our league, 8 teams go out of 13. Like there's that 8th team, 19th, 10th team that win the league. They can. And so I'd love to see everyone represented there. And it's a tournament sport, and there's something magical about getting to the tournament. And at the end of the day, you gotta, you get a team that gets hot and for 2 or 3 days in a row, then you have a chance to be a postseason team. So I would love to see every team there in some ways, like, it's a playing games or whatever. But I just don't think it costs that much more at our level for everyone to finish, not play another game or 2 and have a chance to extend your season.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, the last one, this is where I would ask you LeBron or Jordan, but you have already clarified with us that you are a Jordan guy. So I'm just going to ask you, why are you a Jordan guy and not a LeBron guy?
Generation, generational. It's just a generational thing. And I think I have a huge respect. I do respect LeBron. I think he's phenomenal. And I don't know, Jordan, I would say this. I think that there was never a player, and maybe against me because I grew up in that generation, that was able to capture, I think, like a kid or a teenager in a way that he did on a basketball floor. Not that like Jordan's not, I mean, or LeBron's like, and he does phenomenal things, right? But I think Jordan, in every way, was just like he just had you, like
the TV,
just like eating out of the palm, and you're just. And and then you wanted to go out and do everything he did. So I've never seen a player still to like, and again, I'm just older, and the kids are doing it. But that every kid grew up worshiping him, and then every kid walked out into that playground and tried to be just like him and mimic everything he did. And whether it's wearing like the sleeve below your knee and the arm, whatever it is, it's like everybody wanted to be him. So. I'm a Jordan guy. You'll never be able to change that ever.
I know. I know. It can't change the generational stuff. Well, Coach, Coach Smith, we appreciate you coming on today, coming on to the podcast. Where can everybody find you on social media, Instagram or Twitter or anything?
Yeah, I'm not great at that stuff, but I'm on Twitter. I think I'm on Instagram. I don't post a lot on Instagram. Nate, do you have my handles and stuff? I don't know what that stuff is.
2 seconds.
Like I think
I think I know the name, but I don't want to say it and then it's wrong.
I'm at B Smith 2410. I'm gonna hold it up. B Smith 2410, and then not sure on Instagram, but yeah, I'm getting better at that stuff.
You're getting better.
I am. I'm trying. My kids help. Having young kids or teenagers, and they help for sure.
On Instagram, you're Bubba 2410, and then you can also follow Lee Men's Basketball at Lee UM B-Ball on both.
Perfect. And you can find myself on Instagram at the Ace of Spades with a Z on the end. You can find Nathan on Twitter at his new Twitter name at Coach Nate Moran. You can find him on Instagram at Nate5_Moran. You can find Mind of a Coach on Twitter at Mind of a Coach Pod, and you can find Mind of a Coach on Instagram at Mind of a Coach. Coach Smith, thank you again. We appreciate your time, sitting down, chatting with us. It was a pleasure. It really was.
Hey, thank y'all for doing this, man. This is fun. You guys are doing a great job. Thanks for having me. And Nate, I'll see you at work tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow, Coach.
All right. See you guys.
See you guys. Throwing through your hips.
Yeah.
You're showing the record.
I just pressed it.
So, like, Coach, like, you would be like, yeah, so you just, like, throw your hips through. And I'm, like, trying to, like, figure out, I'm like, well, I don't know how to throw my hips through. Like, I'm so bad at doing this. So, like, he's trying to explain it to me. And I'm like, please just, like, anything. But, like, obviously, like, I'm trying that stuff. I'll go to the range.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, Coach Smith helps me more than just being a basketball coach. He helps me with
free candy for the masses, sweet with stereo sound. Like the Vaders and the Gators in the breakbeat tune. Automator on the fader, corner shop with the boom. Slapping hands with my brothers as we rise to the sun. Les enfants feel the rhythm of the rhymes you stone. Same on appel, baby doll, for your pleasure tonight. Here's the gender with the streets, we be like so on ice. Check it. Here's the gender with the streets, we be like so on ice. Check it.